Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and a lot is happening right now as the countdown continues to the kickoff classic of the CDL upcoming in just a couple of days time now. Lots of drama going on the timeline. Also the OpTic podcast number 9 yesterday, a lot of interesting storylines to talk about this. The main topic from that one that I wanted to touch on today was the potential of host wars for the upcoming season. There were some concerns last season since we went online that, well, teams were deciding to put their players in certain locations such that they got an advantage pretty much whoever they played. Seems like similar things might be happening once again this season if, well, the teams aren't forced to have all their players in the same facility as we believed a few weeks ago that may have been the case. Intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Firstly, this from Lamar Accuracy and said like keep my name out of your mouth. Apparently something was going on in some scrim chat or something and Sensor might have been talking a bit of trash. So Accuracy fires back on the timeline and many other interesting topics to go through as well. This came out from Call of Duty Agent a couple of days ago saying that snipers and smokes are now GA'd in Search and Destroy. We talked about a bit some potential GA, well, the preset class stuff going forwards, and maybe they won't include snipers and smokes at all going forwards, given that, well, as Crone says, this may well be correct. This potential new gentleman's agreement is completely getting rid of snipers and smokes, even though, well, we looked at the fact, okay, they're getting rid of some of the attachments. Now they may just fully be gone from the game. Yeah, is this a good move? Is this a bad move? Who really knows at this point? And, well, we don't really have a confirmation from any pro players as yet. I suppose we'll see what people are using at the kickoff classic this weekend. Also interesting though, because of course this weekend upcoming, what the cast is going to be, what's the casting talent lineup looking like for this season. Study says blessings, it's official. So at the end of last season it was Study and Lando came in as a duo for a time. Who knows whether that will be continuing this season, but maybe Study's hinting at something like that here, and I believe Merc was well asking Study to play Warzone or something like that, or some 8 series, which maybe indicates there's some continuing relationship ongoing between Merc, who I'm sure is going to be a caster this season, unless anything completely drastic and shocking happens on the casting front. This also is very interesting, a few of you pointing out to me. Paul X apparently turning down a CDL team offer. So Paul X went on to explain this, of course, on the Wester team right now, and well, they've been looking very, very solid in the Challenger side. They've won every single Challenger Cup, and it's really no surprise that maybe some CDL teams want to poach these players. But the reason why it seems like he turned them down, he kind of explained it in this clip right here. He effectively says they wanted to sign him on a 14-day contract, and then after that, if he was to leave Wester, then they would replace him with someone, whoever they want to bring in, and then if it doesn't work out with the team, then well, he has no one to fall back on, right, given they've already, Wester have moved forward with their new 4th, which is pretty interesting, right, turning down a CDL team to stay in the Challenger side. But it makes sense in this case, because this season, there's this new 14-day contract thing, where if teams want to try out a player as a substitute or potentially into their starting lineup, they can just sign them on a 14-day contract, and then, well, and then release them if they want after that, and don't have to sign them to that 50k guaranteed salary, right? So this isn't as bad a decision as some people I think were immediately implicating. And well, it seems to me that, okay, 14-day contract, they want to sign him now. That's just for the kickoff classic, right? That's not even for the start of the season. So I'm not really sure which team this is. I think he was mentioning LAG in one of these clips, but I don't actually think that's the case. I think it's more likely it's one of these teams that maybe hasn't got everything in order for the upcoming, the opening weekend, the kickoff classic, wants to have a player like Paul come into the starting lineup just for that series, and then they'll move forward with their proper lineup from there. And well, I'm not really sure if that is exactly the case, but that's kind of what it seems like from what he was implying, especially the fact that it was a 14-day contract, right? Like, what does that cover? It only covers the kickoff classic. So yeah, probably this makes sense as a decision not to break apart from that Wester team, which is probably going to continue dominating the Challenger scene, especially because all the Challengers teams can well, they just switch up players rather than maybe sticking with the team and trying to improve. And well, Parasite maybe is one of those teams, as he says. Paul turned down a pro team. Happy birthday to the kid though. So yeah, who might this be? Maybe we will find out in due course. So this was the OpTic Chicago podcast yesterday. Very entertaining one, especially towards the end. Having Formula on these is absolutely hilarious. And well, there were so many great moments in this, like right at the end. There was honestly, it was a good time, especially the last 10 minutes. Very entertaining indeed. But some very interesting storylines come out as a result of this. Scump and Formal were talking about these, well, these hosting wars situations were happening throughout the online arena of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Of course, in Modern Warfare CDL 2020, we couldn't really have expected this situation to transpire. So the issues with the online situation, honestly, we kind of just had to deal with it, given that Activision and the CDL were probably doing the best they reasonably could have done at the time. But this time around, there were talks from, well, I believe Hex on this podcast several weeks ago, that all the teams are going to be required to be in one facility to play their matches. But now he kind of implying, and I've heard as well, that's no longer forced, it's now only suggested. So some teams will probably not be doing that, right? We talked about OpTic Chicago are certainly going to do it, and Hex says in this clip, like, look, you basically should do it because it's going to give you the best advantage possible possible in this online environment. But as Scump says, that's not necessarily the case, right? Because yes, you're all together, you're all on the same kind of internet, you're all like right next to each other in a tournament format. But if you spread your players out, then it gives you better server coverage, right? So whichever team you're playing, whatever server they decide to veto, you have one player in every single region, which is effectively going to be the host for that match, given they're in the perfect location for all the servers. That's what people were talking about, what Florida Mutineers did last season in the Bermuda Triangle. We're going to talk about in a second here. And if teams aren't forced to be in the same location for the upcoming season, that has unfortunate implications for what we could have had in terms of the content side, but also may have some online repercussions.
Because everyone's going to have it.
Yeah. Not everyone, but yeah.
I mean, not everyone, but...
Well, I think only one team is going to have that here, and that's two teams, us and Envy, because they have
aren't teams forced to play from the same...
They're not... It's not forced as much as it is need to. Because of course, we're playing online for millions and millions of dollars
so they're
in a
making
game that
players
has...
play from the same location.
Correct. That's what we've been discussing, I think.
Last year, I mean, I'll say it again, it's a huge flaw in the system. Teams will just put people on every server, so, like, they always have someone on host. Especially with fives, like last year, you could put, like, 2 in Chicago, 2 in Texas, and then, like, 1 in, like, I don't know, East Coast, like Atlanta.
Yeah, it's why Florida was so good.
Yeah, they just had the best
split.
They had
it everywhere. They were everywhere.
Do you guys bring that up in the players' meetings with the league?
I mean... In what way? Like,
I tell it to you, and you have owners meetings, so
yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
I don't know. Like, when you guys have
we definitely talked about, like, when it was an issue last year, we talked about server changes, like adding more servers. You know, so say I was in Cali, right? Whenever we played against a team, there wasn't even an option for the other team to veto Cali, right? That was one thing I was kind of pissed about, because like we'd be playing against teams, and the vetoes would be like, fucking Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, but like not even taking into account that I'm on the West Coast. Like, I'm part of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like.
I'm on the team.
Like, you guys should throw a server in that's somewhere by me that they have to veto or some shit. Because we put in Chicago private match.
Yeah, they should have done like a Vegas server. Did they have a Vegas server?
No.
No, they didn't.
It was just Cali.
So as Fulmer was kind of talking about, we all know the West Coast isn't exactly the best for, playing online Call of Duty, as Slash says way back in July. West Coast is chalked, move ASAP. But what a lot of people are talking about, right, was the Florida Mutineers last season. They didn't really do too much on LAN, then they go to this online environment, they bring in Awakening, and they look very, very solid indeed. And there were some questions about exactly how a Florida Mutineers so good. They were the best team in the game for a time. Like, they won 2 back-to-back events, completely dominated them. And, that was, something which no other team was really capable of doing with quite the same dominance that they managed that feat. And, as Slash said also back in July, the safety of everyone involved is obviously the priority, but it will not be fair competition, the biggest event in COD history being played from our bedrooms. As Brian Saint says at the time, even with more servers, there will always be an unbalance unless all 5 teams are in the same location. Teams like Florida, with a Bermuda Triangle location split, will always get server advantage no matter what. And JP's kind of talking about it here. And, as Simp says, every time I play Florida, they always have someone on top of the server. League is about to let us play with that for 100k plus. Something needs to change. So the way that Florida is split up, I'm not exactly sure what states they're in, but they called it the Bermuda Triangle because the players are all in different locations around where a lot of the servers are based, which means that whoever you're playing, whatever matchup you happen to be in, whatever servers get vetoed, they've always got one player who is just sitting on top of the server and is effectively the host for that matchup, right? And a lot of pro teams last season were looking at this and saying that's the reason why Florida is so good online, because they have this perfect split. As Saint was saying at the time, if the teams are all in the same locations, then this kind of goes away and you can try and find neutral hosts, or like Chicago's playing out of Texas and Atlanta's playing out of Georgia, and therefore, we can find a neutral host somewhere in the middle, I don't really know. But if the players are all in different locations, then it becomes pretty impossible to do that, and it may actually give an advantage to that team in terms of the online hosting situation that, Scump and Formula kind of concerns may well happen once again this season. So intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm surprised, to be honest, this CDL doesn't seem to have mandated this, right? We heard it a couple of weeks ago. It seemed like it was going to be forced. All the players had to be in the same location. That makes sense for a number of different reasons, for the content side and also probably for the internet side, trying to, find a better neutral host for these online matches. But if that's not going to be the case, then, we potentially have some issues on our hands here. And I was kind of hoping that this season would be a much superior online experience to what we had last time around. But, maybe for the first couple of months, we won't necessarily see that quite to the same degree as we would have hoped it to. So, yeah, intrigued to hear your perspective on this. Couple of things to finish off the video. Thought this was funny, like a bit of a pasta really from GodRx. Scump is almost 30, dude, is washed now. haGeZy is still in his prime. It's a no-brainer. The only reason why they haven't made the move yet is because of politics. If they want to be a dynasty, they need to pick up haGeZy. OpTic Chicago Parasite coming very soon indeed. Also to mention this, that Chrome points out some very, very nice player portraits here from Seanberry Photo. So I'll leave the full portfolio down below if you guys would like to look through them, because honestly, these are very, very nice indeed. Probably need to get the backgrounds taken off these and I can start using them in some thumbnails. But yeah, some very high quality stuff. Seems like, seems like they're stepping up their game pretty significantly, the CDL, from what we had last season. And also this to finish it off, which I thought was pretty interesting. A few of you guys have been talking about in the comment section about the team camos. When are they arriving? To my understanding, they're coming relatively soon. A couple of you guys were pointing out to me that on the CDL, on their YouTube channel, there was some replies to the CDL account with people asking where are the team camos, kind of hinting that, they're coming relatively soon. But as Miles says, CDL team camos should have matching tracer rounds. I'm not exactly sure when the CDL team camos are going to come. Hopefully before the league begins on something like the February 11th would be nice. But yeah, having tracer rounds would honestly be a really interesting thing. I guess some of the teams have relatively similar colors, but you could certainly make that work, and it probably would make them more attractive to purchase. But as Merc says, I'm going to ruin your fun now. Tracers ruin a ton of visibility. So, he doesn't want it in the game, but maybe if you tone them down somewhat, that could be a viable option. Intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I'll grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.